I'm going to invite everybody into an exercise where I'm going to invite you to recall something right now. We're going to explore the emotions that you're feeling around it. And that's why I brought up our list of words. If you have your Connect decks with you, and they look like this, you can use your feelings cards. And what I'm going to ask you to identify is something that's going on in life right now where you're experiencing some resistance or fear, because fear is kind of and resistance are to me kind of similar in nature. It might be about something that's going on right now. It might be something from the past or something that you're maybe thinking maybe a potential future outcome, but that you're holding tension around. And that's the block, right? That's when things maybe aren't feeling like they're moving in an easy and a light way. So we're going to start with the contrast, but I promise you we're going to lead into a much lighter, more fluid place. It's really important for us to actually understand and identify those feelings that come with these blocks we feel in life, or these resistance or fear-based experiences that we have. So can you identify something? And I encourage you just to, in a word or two, write that down. So just, if it's something involving like a financial issue, let's say, just write a couple of words that would best describe that situation without getting into too much of the story or the detail, but that you would be clearly identifying as your life situation that you want to work with today. And then once you've done that, please feel free to go ahead and identify all the feelings that are coming up for you as you recall. So how are you feeling about this? And you can use the words that you see up on the screen, or you can use your cards. So just let's give everybody a minute. And you don't have to censor. If you are feeling like 10 different feelings, you choose as many as apply. And once you've established those feelings, just take a minute to look through them. And you may have chosen 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6, maybe 10 or more. Usually the more we feel about a certain life area, the greater the resistance, or the greater the fear, or the greater, the stress. And so I like to invite everyone to choose as many as they like initially. And then what we're going to do is we're going to narrow this down, right? If you've been with us for a while, this is the next step. And we do this for really important reasons. So when we're feeling emotions, we can become so overwhelmed, right? Especially if there are many, many happening at once. And so the act of clarifying, what are those the strongest feelings? So we're going to try to narrow it down to our top 2 to 3 feelings. And just give ourselves a minute to validate that yeah, this situation that's going on in life right now, I am feeling, Lisa's sharing, overwhelmed, hopeful, and confused. And we can feel these contrasting emotions at the same time, right? That's the complexity of the human experience. And all of them are welcome. This is going to be really interesting to see where this goes. So how are you feeling? And giving yourself permission, just like we did in that exercise Lisa so beautifully led us through, is we're giving ourselves permission to feel these feelings and to let them come up, because they're actually messengers. They're here to help us move through this situation. And not a lot of us had someone there for us growing up, right? That was validating us, that was encouraging us, that was even maybe asking us how we felt. And so we're learning to do that for ourselves on these calls. And what that does is it helps to break up this resistance or this anxiety that we feel about going into the feeling at all. And what you're going to find is that underneath these feelings are some really important needs that you have for your well-being. And that's going to help lead us into more flow. So I'm going to bring up another screen now, and I hope you can see it because I see that our little photos, Lisa, are right in front of that. So I'm actually just, maybe we could just stop our videos just so everybody can see those words, and then we can bring ourselves back up again. Thanks, Lisa. So if everyone can see all this list of words here, so these are the words that are on the I need cards, or if you have the older deck, the need it cards. And all the words you see here are words we have for our well-being, right? So we all need to be heard. We all need connection and support and to matter and time and self-care. And those needs are going to vary based on what is going on in our life. And so based on this situation that you chose and the feelings that you just identified, what do you need? What do you need for well-being? What do you need to experience more flow and to feel lighter and less blocked in this area? What do you need? And go ahead and choose all of the words that apply. No need to censor them down to 2 or 3. We're going to do that later, but for now, how many needs right now are jumping out at you? And so when you've chosen those words, let's take a minute now to narrow to those really essential top 3. Let's see if you can go with your top 3 needs. So all of them are important, but are there 3 that you can say, yeah, like those are rising to the surface for me right now? I can identify that, harmony and peace and space, like that's what I need right now. That's really feeling right to me. Just like take a minute to breathe that in, okay? And just like really, really notice your body and notice your breath and notice how things may have shifted for you, just even slightly, from when you first brought this scenario to mind to now, when you've identified those clear feelings and connected them beautifully to those needs, those precious needs. Leslie sharing protection, support, healing, and self-care. Like these aren't luxuries, guys, right? These are essential for your well-being. And I'm going to bring the video back up again because I really want to emphasize this part that, we go through life, most of us, putting other people's needs before our own. And when we're parents, there are many times that has to happen. Not chronically though. So in the moment, yes, there might be a minute where your child is in need of something, depending on their age, depending on their ability. But in general, I think many of us experience blocks because we are not putting our feelings and our needs on the table, sometimes at all. And then we wonder, why the overwhelm, why the frustration? Well, it's very closely linked to how connected we are to ourselves. And what we're really doing in this practice is we're strengthening this sense of self that many of us maybe has an underdeveloped sense of. And we're strengthening presence and awareness so that we can open up the intuitive channels. And you guys have already started tapping into that because you did the body scan, and that's like intuition 101, just tapping into that body wisdom. But now we're going to move into opening up our intuitive channels even more, and more information is going to be available to us. And the reason for that is we've cleared the pathway. We've gotten in tune with our feelings, because those are intuitive messages as well. And we've identified what we need. And So we're not stuck in the past or the future anymore. We're basically saying, like, in this moment, this is what I need. My outer situation may not have changed yet, and probably not. Just sitting here today, I don't think this situation has changed for you if you walked out into the world, but your inner resources are starting to build. And that's what we're working on, this discipline of building ourselves up so that we have the clarity and the confidence and the freedom, all these beautiful words that you guys are choosing, to then go out in life and perhaps make some different moves, make some different choices, say no to things that aren't serving us, say no to people that aren't serving us. This little container that we meet in every week for 45 minutes, this is the work that we're doing here. And for me right now, I can say there's nothing else that's as important. I'm feeling more and more as the world gets more chaotic. Um, I cannot exhaust my energy in areas that are not serving my greater good. And I know that's not selfish, because when my cup is full, I have so much more energy for others, but I can also be discerning about when it's time to help and when it's time to hold in, um, because otherwise I will just exhaust my energy. So let's open up that channel a little more, and I'm gonna bring up some symbols. And these symbols are just, they're tools to kind of help us bypass maybe some of the overthinking or the judging we do, whether it be for judging ourselves or judging another or even judging a situation, and helps open us up to new insight and new information. So I'm going to invite everybody to just kind of like envision yourself wiping the slate clean in terms of how you think this situation should resolve. More than likely, you're seeking a resolution, right? You want to feel better about this. And so let's just take a nice cleansing deep breath. Again, bringing your awareness to the solar plexus. So breathing in right below the chest, and just bringing your awareness down out of the head and into the center of your being. And if you have your inspiration cards, you can go ahead and shuffle those and randomly choose. Or you can take a look at the collection of, these are some of the inspiration cards that are in the Connect Decks set. And take a look at those symbols and go with the one that's kind of drawing your attention. You don't need to know why, but one, either the word or the symbol or both, they're going to kind of draw you to itself. And the only thing we need to ask in this stage in the process is letting go of how we think this situation should resolve itself. What does my soul want me to know? And then just go quiet. So looking at that symbol and that word, and don't worry about anything other than what kind of floats to your awareness at this point. But what does my soul want me to know? And then take a minute. You might want to journal, you might want to share in the chat. Do you notice anything coming to you? An insight, an idea? What does the image remind you of? Something, anything at all? And just trust that you do have the answers. And if nothing comes to you, don't worry. Just keep breathing, keep focusing on your body, that center solar plexus area. Just keep breathing into that. And just ask the question again, what does my soul want me to know? And if something's come to you, write it down maybe. And then if that feels complete, you can ask the question, is there anything more? Is there anything else? Beautiful. What I like to do, I like to encourage others to do as well, is if you found, you know, either something maybe didn't come to you, but you feel like, you know, there's something in that challenge card and it's not coming to me in this moment, because remember, this is a practice, it's a discipline. We're teaching our brain and our heart to kind of work together in a way that we weren't socialized to necessarily. And so I often say take a picture of the card on your phone and bring it back up again in another moment, even a moment where this very situation gets triggered and you start to feel yourself moving into fear or resistance. Just bring that symbol back to your awareness. Use it as a moment to take a few deep breaths and recenter and ask the question again, what does my soul want me to know? What does my heart want me to know? When we're talking about the soul, we're talking about that higher aspect of ourselves. We have many words for it, but that source, whatever you choose to call that source energy, that gives you life, that gives you breath. We hold all of that information and that knowledge and that connection within us. It gets blocked, right? And so when we want the flow to move, and this is how we're kind of creating a path for ourselves using a system. And that's what ConnectX is. It's just a system that has some tools that helps us along the way to get more reacquainted with that inner connection. And then why do we do it? Well, we do it so that the outer stressors don't affect us as much. When we do this as a practice, we start to build up this resilience and this ability to withstand the storm and the chaos. And we start to feel this beautiful sense of flow and peacefulness. And the reason for that is because we're connecting to this self, to this core strength and inner resilience that is always there, but just many of us either didn't know how to access it or we've forgotten because we're overwhelmed and we've got a lot going on. I think we have to move things along. Again, because we come from probably a lot of us being raised thinking like you got to make it happen for yourself. But when we invite more flow into our lives, we start to realize that our responsibility is to be present in every moment and to be really clear with ourselves about what's going on. And then the next step is going to be made clear to us. Trusting in this beautiful divine flow is an easier way to live than always feeling like we're the ones that have to be responsible for and carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Yeah, and that comes from somewhere very, very valid and legitimate. You know, a lot of us had a lot put on us as kids, and then as we get older and become sort of hyper responsible and over responsible for others, we can start to get in the pattern of that and then suddenly feel like, you know, things are going to fall apart if we're not there to move it along. And the beautiful thing that I've discovered, and ConnectX have been a huge part of that journey, is the less that I put an attachment to an outcome, and this is how the inspiration cards are meant to serve us, is they help us let go of that in like a fun and creative way. And then we realize, oh my gosh, like this solution is right in front of my face, or it's feeling so much better for me to step back and trust rather than going and trying to find the shortcut or trying to make this push something through that's just not wanting to move right now. And so this brings me back to our tagline for today, which is go where the energy flows, right? So if something's feeling like, this isn't working, a person, you know, a relationship, a job, an approach, just letting that be, moving your attention to where energy is feeling lighter. And for me, a lot of the time when I was going through really difficult periods, the cards were my place. I didn't have a lot of energy for hobbies, but the cards were my place where I could go and feel that lightness and feel that flow. And then my body got to liking it and got used to it, and it became easier to do that in everyday life. So it's really a training. It's a training that we're helping the body, helping the mind to get back into flow. And lastly, I promised everyone, we have our new decks. They are here. I'm just going to shut my video off again so you can see. The new Connect decks are here, and I have them in hand. This is the new design and the new packaging, which is this lovely little desktop box. It kind of slides open like a matchbox. There are 38 I feel cards with all the feelings words, 38 I need cards, and then 44 inspiration symbols. So the old set, for those of you that have it, you had 24 symbols. So there's 20 new symbols. You see some of those below. A new guide card, as you see in the photo, with a really clear step-by-step process. And I'm making these available to all Awaken members for the price of the old cards, which is $39.95. So they will be available to people outside of the Awaken community for $49.95 is going to be what they're priced at. But if anybody's interested in purchasing the new set with the new symbols, you can just go right to shaunamayer.com, go to services and click, and you'll be taken to the Connect decks. You'll see a drop down, and that you can actually do the whole thing right through the website. So thank you, everybody. What a great call. And I would love to hear how this experience was for you. So you can always email me at shauna@shaunamayer.com. I love to interact through the week and just hear if it's been helpful, and any insights that came to you during the call or after. We're a community and we're here to support one another. You guys are all change makers and care providers, and I just want to be here. I know I've been on that end of being just completely burnt out and feeling alone and feeling like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. And the reason I created this community was to support people like me who were sensitive and empathetic and hardworking and caring and wanting to bring change to the world, but feeling like my inner resources really needed, I needed to turn back onto myself first and really invest in myself so that I had the energy to give to others. And so that's what these calls are for. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. Thank you.